All right, so we are on the record in the matter of the state of Michigan versus Deed Howard Randolph, 23392. And appearance for the people, please.
And good morning, Your Honor. Is that the people, please, you will report?
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mr. Shempy, here on behalf of my client, who's going to be staying momentarily to my immediate right.
Thank you. And Mr. Howard Randolph, your name, please, for the record.
D. Howard Randolph.
All right, thank you. And so today's the date for quite a few things. There's a bond violation hearing scheduled for a previous bond violation alleged, and also a new violation that was alleged regarding contact from the Wayne County Jail. Okay, so Mr. Kazak.
Yes, Your Honor, we would ask the court to take into consideration, obviously, the police reports you've already seen before. We also have Ms. Stuff here as well to testify regarding the violations.
Okay. And so, Mr. Shumke?
I'm ready to proceed, Judge.
Okay. So, Mr. Kazak, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. People are calling Pamela Duff.
All right, and so we are back on the record, the matter of the state of Michigan versus Deed Howard Randolph, 23302. And the court spoke with counsel off the record on the sidebar, and Ms. Duff was on her way in. The court asked Ms. Duff to turn around and go back out to the lobby for a moment. The court also informed Mr. Howard Randolph that he was not to be looking back as she's coming into the courtroom. So, Mr. Shumke, based upon the sidebar, is there something that you wanted to bring to the court's attention?
Yes, Your Honor. I had a dialogue with my client today. He had indicated that he would like to respectfully request consideration for a change of venue. It was brought to the court's attention, I believe, 2 proceedings ago, that there potentially might be a grievance that my client is filing against the court and other members of the court. Now, this was done prior to my representation. I don't know the status of those grievances. I don't know where they are at, if they've been received, or how is that proceeding. But my client indicates that this potentially could generate a conflict of interest and has asked me to instruct the court of his request. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. And so the court will note that I had actually forgotten that your client had made that statement regarding a grievance that had been filed. The court has not received any notice of that grievance that had been filed, or the status of any investigation, if any, I don't know. The court will also note that at any point in time, there could be any individual that is filing a grievance or a complaint against the court, or staff members or myself. And so if that were the case, I'd have to have all those individuals transfer to different jurisdictions. As of now, the court doesn't have any information regarding any sort of grievance that has been filed or a complaint that has been alleged. So I don't even know what would be contained in there. And I can tell you that that would not affect this court's ability to hear the evidence and weigh it in an unbiased manner. And so the court feels it can still be fair and impartial. And so the court's going to deny the request to transfer venue.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right. And so, I'm sorry, can you please have Ms. Duff come in? Mr. Howard Randolph, do not turn around to watch Ms. Duff walk into the courtroom. I didn't ask who you were looking at. I'm just indicating not to turn around and look as she's walking the courtroom. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. You can step forward. Ma'am, is there anybody here that can assist you with your son?
No.
Okay. All right. We have you step over there. And, okay, I'm gonna swear you. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear from the testimony about to give this going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Pamela does.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Kazak, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor, and good morning, Ms. Duff. I appreciate you being here today.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me just lay some ground rules first. Mr. Kazak, I'm going to need you to speak directly into the microphone. Keep your volume up as much as possible, especially because I'm anticipating that you may not be quiet the whole time, as cute as he is. So I'm going to need you to stay as loud as possible.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here today. I just want to ask you a few questions about some contacts that your ledger made, your ledger made by Mr. Randolph back in April. Did Mr. Randolph contact you on the 24th of April 2023?
Okay, I'm sorry, just one moment. Okay, super cute, but I think I'm going to have a staff member come and we're gonna go off the record. I'm going to have a staff member come and hang out with little guy for a little bit, because we're not going to be able to have a clean record. Okay, thank you, Stacy. Okay, and so we are going back on the record in the matter of 23302. Okay, you can have a seat now. All right, thank you. Okay, and so you can start over, Mr.
Oh,
President.
it was not fine. Back in April, did Mr. Howard Randolph contact you?
In April,
Yes.
I think I may have contacted him in regards to Rio. So I don't necessarily think he contacted me. I think I may have contacted him.
Now, did you make a police report to the Macomb County Sheriff's Department? Back on April 24th, did you make a police report to the Macomb County Sheriff's Department
About what?
about anything?
Maybe that's possible, yeah. But that's,
This was less than several weeks ago. Do you remember making a police report?
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I have.
Do you remember what the police report was regarding?
No.
This ask a little bit more general question. Since this case has been ongoing, has Mr. Speed, Howard Randolph contacted you at all?
I've been getting a lot of weird phone numbers calling me, private numbers calling me. So if I make it then that's a possibility.
That's not what I asked though.
No, I contacted him.
And can you recall when you contacted Mr. Randolph?
Sometime in April.
Did Mr. Randolph, Howard Randolph reply?
I think I called him and he may have answered the phone.
Did you speak with Mr. Speed, Howard Randolph?
I briefly said something about Rio and,
And you indicated besides this incident in April, have you had any other contacts from Mr. Randolph?
no, I mean, I tried contacting him on a few different occasions, but he don't always answer me that word or, just in regards to Rio.
Can you explain why you made a police report to the Macomb County Sheriff's Department in April this year?
Because I thought that he was harassing me.
Why did you think Mr. Randolph contact you?
Because in previous incidences, it was a thing. But there's, like I said, random numbers, private numbers. I'm getting emails from random people. People are hacking my email. And I have just recently received the email. He obviously can't email me while he's in jail. So I'm still being harassed. And I'm still being hacked. And I don't know who it is.
And what about the messages suggesting that was Mr. Randolph?
I mean, if it wasn't from his number, I can't honestly say whether it's him or not.
Now, has Mr. Randolph contacted you from the jail at all?
I mean, if he did, I probably didn't answer.
Now, I'm going to remind you that you're under oath.
He contacted me once.
And when was that?
The day after he went to jail.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The day he went to jail or the day after, I'm not sure.
Was that several weeks ago after the last court hearing?
Yes.
And what did Mr. Randolph say anything to you when he contacted you?
Just that he was in jail and he was helping out.
And about, well, how long after the court hearing did you contact?
Mr. Gazak, you're trailing
I'm
off.
sorry, about how long after the court hearing did you
I'm
contact?
not sure, a day or two, maybe, got a lot going on, I can't
No, I
remember
remember.
dates or timeframes, it's just,
But you confirmed that Mr. Randolph did contact you after the court date
yeah.
from the jail.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a whole lot of resources, so it's probably why he contacted me to see if I could have someone help him, that's the only thing I can do.
And besides his contact from the jail, did you contact you at all since this case has been going on?
I mean, if he had, like I said, I probably didn't answer, I work a lot, so if, he had it, I don't know. I stay so busy, I work like 12 hours a day.
Has he contacted you by text at all?
I don't know how we would do that, so, if there's no way he could have contacted me by text unless he has a phone hidden out somewhere, I don't know.
I'm sorry, Council, I think you need to be more specific as far as contacting by text. Because you started talking about when he was in the jail.
When he contacted you in the jail, he contacted you by phone at that time, right?
That's the only way.
Ma'am, you need to please wait until Mr. Kazak has completed the entire question, and then I need you to keep your volume up, please. So can you please repeat the answer?
Can you repeat the question?
Did he contact you by text or by phone in the jail?
Phone.
And you indicated earlier in April that you received a number of communications from people you believe was Mr. Randolph, is that correct?
Yeah.
And did you receive any emails from individuals you believe to be Mr. Randolph?
I did, but like I said, now that I just received the email when he was in jail, I'm kind of questioning if it was him or not. But the email was very vulgar and disrespectful.
The previous emails you received in April that you believe were Mr. Randolph, do you remember what email address that came from?
There's so many different ones, like whoever is emailing me is making up new emails.
Ma'am, please answer the question. The question was, do you know the email
I
address?
don't know the addresses, I can't think of offhand.
RandolphREO@gmail.com sound familiar?
You need to keep your volume up, please.
And do you recall what numbers you received contacts from that you believe to be Mr. Randolph?
There's so many different numbers that I wouldn't be able to specify or pick them through because there's a lot of different ones.
Did you give those numbers to the police when they made the report?
Yes.
Back in April?
And I said that I had thought it was possibly him, but I wasn't sure. So whatever they did after that is,
Your Honor, I don't have any further questions. All right.
All right, thank you. Mr. Shunky?
Yes. You indicated that in April, you had tried to reach my client, correct?
correct,
All right, now you have a child account.
correct.
Ma'am, please let the question finish before you answer.
And since this proceeding, you've tried to reach out to him a few times, correct?
Correct.
But you don't recall, at least offhand, anything specific as far as him reaching out to you. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I don't.
Now, would you prefer that you could have contact with him?
Yeah, in regards to Rio, yes.
So you don't feel, how do you feel regarding my client? Are you afraid of him? Are you afraid to speak with him? So you had your brothers, you would rather there be some sort of contact division as long as it's about your child account.
Yes, yeah, because it's our son. And I want him to be in our son's life.
Fine. And then as far as you know, you're not pursuing any charges against my client in McComb. Is that accurate?
No, I'm aware of no.
And in fact, during the relationship, sometimes there's been good times and sometimes bad times, right? Most relationships.
Yeah, of course.
And then you indicated that when you had made reports, you thought that potentially it was my client contacting you, but now you're not sure.
Correct.
No further questions.
All right. Ma'am? The court has a few questions. What about the messages made you think that it was Mr. Howard Randolph?
Just some references.
I'm
to-
sorry, let me finish the question,
Okay,
please.
I thought you were finished.
Sending you the text messages.
Just, I don't know, like, you know, we've gotten to arguments before and there's some things were said. And it just seemed like some of the things that were being said were kind of the same.
What specifically was being said that you thought it was Mr. Howard Randolph?
I don't have it for me. I can't really say what, like, I would think regarding it would be because I don't have it in front of me. It's been, you know, a minute.
Hasn't been a minute, it's been a month.
Okay, a month is a long time. Like I said, I work 12 hours a day. I stay busy. You know, that's like the furthest thing from my mind is.
Ma'am, you thought enough about the messages to contact the Macomb County Sheriff's Department.
Right.
What about those messages did you believe made it seem as though, let me finish the question, please. That you believed it was the defendant that was sending you those messages?
I guess like the slang and the way that they were talking was what made me believe it might have been him.
The slang and the way.
Yeah, just how things were worded. I don't.
Okay, was there any discussion regarding your child?
I think there may have been a reference to Rio.
Was there any reference regarding any threatening behavior?
Possibly. Like I said, I don't remember. It's been a month ago. It's a long time for me.
Okay, and then what about the emails? Why did you think it was Mr. Howard Randolph that was sending the emails to you?
Because just how things are worded, you know, that's why.
Okay, so give me an example, please.
Like if, I don't know, just the way things are worded, I don't know how else to explain it. I don't have an example. Like I said, I don't have it in front of me. I don't recall it like that. I don't recall specific emails.
Did you ever receive any photographs of anything sent to you?
Photographs of my apartment. Nothing wrong.
Okay, and what happened as a result of that?
I made a report.
Okay, and in that report, what did that report indicate?
I don't know that someone was at my house.
Someone or one particular person?
I mean, I assumed it was Mr. Randolph, but now I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure if it was someone. Like, I don't know who's doing these things. I don't know.
Okay, why did you think it was Mr. Howard Randolph when you made the report?
Just because of past incidences between him and I, like arguments and things like that. I just assumed it was him.
Okay, and why do you think it's not him?
I mean, I think it may not be him just because, like I said, I received another email and I don't know who it is. So like, I don't know.
All right, when did you receive that email?
The other day.
The other day, meaning yesterday or the other day last week?
Yesterday. It was yesterday.
Yesterday. And what was the email address you received it from?
My own, someone hacked my email. I had to reset my password. And I even took my phone in to make sure that nothing was wrong with it. Like if somebody had hacked it or anything like that, it's currently in the new break and fix it.
And what did the email contain yesterday?
A lot of negative racial comments. Should be even my son.
Okay, please be specific.
I don't want to be specific about what it says.
Ma'am, I'm ordering you to be specific. I need the information.
It said that something about that I was a nigger lover and that my son is an abomination and should have never been born. That's all I remember.
And it wasn't signed by anybody?
No,
And it came from your own email address?
yes, okay.
And the message from, when Mr. Howard Randolph called you from jail
Yeah.
and said he needed help in getting out, what else did he say to you?
I don't remember, I know I cussed him out a lot, that's all I remember.
And what did you say to him?
I don't know what to do, like, I don't know what you want me to do for you. I remember saying, I don't know what you want me to do for you.
And so what was his response?
And
So what did you take that to mean?
they needed help getting out of jail, that he needed bond money, that's how I took it.
Did you take that to mean that you shouldn't testify at the bond hearing?
No,
Did you take it that you shouldn't tell the truth at the bond violation hearing?
no,
And the individual that's here in court, a couple rows back in the black sweatshirt, do you know who that is?
no,
The female that was on the other side of the courtroom, but she's not in here anymore, with the sunglasses on her head, I think she had red hair. Do you know who she is?
I never met her before.
When's the last time you saw Mr. Howard Randolph?
Quite some time. January, maybe.
And where did you see him in January?
I met him somewhere to meet up with, to see Rio.
Is there a parent time or custody action that's pending? Anywhere?
It's complete,
I'm sorry?
it's complete.
And so what, it was a result of that hearing?
I have full sole custody, he supervised visitation.
And who's the supervising visit, who's the supervisor for
I
visitation?
think it was Senate or something.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Unless-
you need to please repeat that answer. He has to what?
He has to go to some type of a center, like I'm supposed to take Rio to some place or something, or unless we decide on something else. That's the agreement as of right now.
And so is there a set schedule for that?
If there is, it's in the paperwork. I haven't received the paperwork yet. I'm waiting for my attorney to send it.
Okay, and so would that center be Growth Works?
That sounds familiar.
Okay, and so ma'am, you want this court to believe that there's supervised parenting time set up at a center, an independent center, but then the two of you can agree on something otherwise? You're telling me that that's what the language in the court order would say?
He said that if we decide on something else, that's between him and I.
And you haven't received that court order paperwork yet?
I haven't received it yet. No, I'm waiting for my attorney to send it, email it to me.
And ma'am, in any of the messages that you received, text messages or email messages, was there any reference regarding consequences for Mr. Howard Randolph not being able to see his son?
I don't know.
All right, did any of those questions elicit further questions by the people?
Just one or two questions, Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
Ms. Duck, you familiar with Mr. Randolph's, speech patterns and style, would you say?
Mr. Cusack, I need you to go up to the microphone, please.
I'm sorry. Are you familiar with Mr. Randolph speaks, Mr. Howard Randolph speaks generally?
Yeah, but that's half of the short. The whole feel like.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I need you to keep your volume up and please answer only the question.
And when you receive those texts and emails from different numbers, were the similarities in the speech style consistent with how Mr. Howard Randolph would speak to you?
Sometimes and sometimes not.
And when you received those communications and made the police report, did you provide those to the detective that was investigating the case?
Yes,
And you gave them copies of those text messages, photographs of them?
yeah, they took photographs.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Chunky, any recross?
No, not based on those questions, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Duff, the court's going to excuse you for right now, but I'm going to have you stick around in case there's any follow-up questions. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. I'm out in the lobby with our court administrator. Thank you. All right, any other witnesses, Mr. Kazak?
No other witnesses this time, Your Honor.
And Mr. Chunky?
No witnesses from the defense, Judge.
Okay, and so, Mr. Kazak,
Your Honor, I would ask at this time to find Mr. Howard Randolph.
are there any exhibits?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe I already asked the court, accepting that the police report was already provided the last court date, I believe, for the Macomb County Sheriff's Department report 2023-0039.
Okay, but do you have those marked?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
Okay, so I need those to be marked. Actually, you know what? I'd like to recall Ms. Duff. I'd like to have Ms. Duff back on the screen. Okay, I'm gonna have you come right back up. There was something I forgot to ask you about. And so, me and the court's going to indicate that you are still under oath. And one question that I forgot to ask you was, at some point, did you have some keys of Mr. Howard Randolph's? I need you to be much closer to the microphone, please.
Not that I remember.
You didn't have any keys of Mr. Howard Randolph's? No, I need him not. Okay, thank you.
I mean, I may have at some point in time.
Do you recall if there was any interaction between the Macomb County Sheriff and Mr. Howard Randolph regarding return of the keys?
Not that I recall.
Not at all. Now, I'm going to remind you that you're under oath and that there is a penalty for perjury. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you recall if you had keys that Mr. Howard Randolph wanted returned?
I think I did. I think that there were keys that I had that I was supposed to return and I didn't.
Okay. And where are those keys now?
I'm not sure. Unless they're at the Macomb County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, are they in your possession any further?
No.
Okay. And so did any of the messages that you received address the keys?
He may have asked for his keys back in a message.
So one of the messages you think addressed the keys?
I'm sorry?
One of the messages mentioned the keys?
They may have, yeah.
And so what did it address regarding the keys?
I know he said one of the messages I remember saying, he said, my fucking keys. That's all I remember in messages wise.
And do you know if Macomb County Sheriff's Department contacted Mr. Howard Randolph about the keys?
I'm not sure if they have or not.
And so you think that the message that addressed the keys was not Mr. Howard Randolph?
I don't have the message for me, I don't know what it says, but I know that there was a message that I was asking for his fucking keys. It's the only message I remember him saying. Keys.
And was there anything else in that message other than the keys?
Not that I recall.
Do you know who Rio Randolph is?
He is
Okay. And have you set up an email address for Rio? Okay, hold on, Rio, hold on. I know you have a lot to say. Have you set up an email address for Rio?
personally, no.
Okay, do you know if Mr. Howard Randolph set up an email for Rio?
I have no idea.
Do you know who Cheney P is?
That's one of my email addresses that was, again, hacked and I have no access to.
What about,
That's my email as well. I don't have access to that one either. That one's also been hacked.
okay. Do you recall a text message that was sent with the picture of your parking lot?
It was something about, we're gonna get you, bitch. That's the only thing I really remember. It was an email. I'm sure it was long. I probably didn't read it all, to be honest.
Okay. Did that message address the keys or your son?
I think it may have addressed Rio.
And you're telling this court you did not address your keys?
I don't have the message in front of me. I don't recall what it says.
Did you at any point tell Mr. Howard Randolph that you were going to send the keys through the mail? You did. So if a message addressed those keys being sent through the mail, would you have reason to believe that that was or was not Mr. Howard Randolph?
I mean, if I felt like it was him, I probably said it because I was mad. I was sent to the mail. I said I've been receiving interesting messages and phone calls from random people, so I'm just not sure anymore.
All right, well, counsel, I'm going to read this message that's attached with this picture into the record. And here's what it says. You want to keep playing these kind of fucking games, really, though. You hiding my son from me, you weak bitch. I hate you, nigga, and you won't give me my keys back. And if you sent my keys through the mail, it's on, bitch, for real, and that's FR. You bet not have respected my shit and put my keys in no fucking mail. I swear to God, bitch, you crossed. Right? You crossed the fucking line this time. You ain't got no reason to do me the way that you did, that you do. But I warned you, bitch ass nigga. I told you to stop playing me like a thick nigga when I put my whole livelihood on the line for you and your kids. When I told you don't bring this fucking drama to me, bitch, and you promised you wouldn't. Now look, you hoe ass bitch. When I was minding my own business and now I can't get you to stop running off with my fucking son. I literally gotta chase you fucking down to be in real life. And I'm getting real tired of this shit. I'm dropping tears, texting this message, and I'm begging you to stop before I snap and take you out, Pam. I'm fucking serious. I warned you, nigga. Last fucking warning. Produce my keys and my son, or you gone have real problems, my nigga. I've been through under the bus. I've had to deal with a racist ass, dirty, grimy ass bitch keep my son from me and not get the chance to watch him grow up in peace. I'm writing you this message with the last sane thought in my body for you to fucking stop. For it's too late, Pam. I'm telling you, I just want to raise my fucking son. I don't care about nothing else no more. I've been brought up on more charges in the last year than in my whole life while fighting for my son at the same time. I don't know if you know how that feels, but if I was you, I wouldn't keep doing what you're doing. I'm warning you, Pam. And I will note that that was all written without any punctuation except one comma somewhere in there. So, ma'am, does that refresh your recollection as it relates to the message set with the picture?
Yeah. Is there like a phone number or email address associated with that?
Ma'am, you're not asking the questions, I am. And so with that message, is there any reason why you would think that that's not Mr. Howard Randolph?
Not, I mean, there's a lot of references to Rio and stuff. It's like, you know, probably why I made the report.
Any questions from that, Mr. Kazak?
No, thank you. I sent an electronic copy of the document with a marked exhibit and listing the page, number of pages attached to it to this box.
Okay. All right. Gordy, can you see if she's received email? Mr. Sensi, any questions?
But as you sit there today, you're indicating you don't know if that message is from my client or not, correct?
Like I said, I mean, if it wasn't his direct phone number, his direct email, I wouldn't know for sure, 100% sure.
All right, and you've indicated that you, beyond just that message, you've gotten messages with hostile intent from different numbers and different emails, correct?
Yeah.
And you don't know who they're from, correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. Okay. Do you have anybody else's keys that you had not returned? I'm sorry?
Not that I can think of.
So another message that says, hey bitch, or keys bitch, give me my keys, give me my keys, give me my keys, you fat ass bitch, you think I'm a fucking joke bitch, bet it up bitch, I'm gonna show you ass this time bitch. That would be from somebody other than Mr. Howard Randolph?
I'm not sure.
Then there's another message with a picture of your parking lot again that says, can you please ask CC to come grab Rio again, please? But this wasn't the case at all. I hate I brought Rio into this fucked up ass world with a person like you. You're the most shadiest bitch I ever met, you hoe ass bitch. I don't know what would possess you to do this, but you've gone paid for what you did to me, bitch. Does that message sound familiar? And so you would think that somebody other than Mr. Howard Randolph would have sent that to you.
I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know what number it came from. I don't know what email.
Do you have another child named Rio?
No.
Do you have another child with anybody else?
I said you were talking with someone else.
Okay. Are any of those children named Rio?
No.
Okay. And then underneath the picture, it says, we gone get you, bitch. And what do you have Mr. Howard Randolph's name saved in on your phone? Okay, I'll need some of them. Need you to be much louder into the microphone, please.
Indeed.
Okay.
And Ashley.
Okay, are you looking at something, ma'am? Do you have a watch on?
Yeah, it was bothering me, so I was trying to get it.
Is it an Apple Watch or anything?
Google
Google Watch? Please take it off for a moment. Here, you can grab it, please. Is anybody sending you messages on that right now?
No.
And so, not one person has sent you a message on here while you've been testifying. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right here. Do you have them stored in your phone as fuckface asshole?
I don't think it was that. I know it was asshole for sure.
Okay. You have anybody stored in your phone under fuckface asshole? You remember receiving a message regarding what would get a bitch ass murdered.
Remember a message like that?
Okay. At any point, did you send Mr. Randolph a message about you ain't gonna change, everyone warned me and I didn't listen?
Probably.
So do you recall after that message, the response saying nigga WTF, which the court knows what that means, you up here playing both sides, fuck you and fuck everybody you listening to, bitch. The shit you doing would get any bitch murdered and you think it's a game. Then the next one, you foul as fuck. And then you respond on calling the court and turning all these messages in something. I can't read that. Does any of that sound familiar to you?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
Even though you acknowledged the first message that you sent.
I don't remember. Like I said, this has been a while ago. I can't remember all of these messages.
Okay. Any questions from those questions, Mr. Kazak?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Shenke?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. I think that that's all, but I'm going to have you stick around for a few more moments.
I go or do I have to wait?
I'm going to have you wait. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Kazak.
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, I would ask the court to find Mr. Howard Randolph guilty of both bond violations. I think that although Ms. Duff was a bit hesitant and recalcitrant today on the stand, I think that her police report and the information that she acknowledged she provided to the Macomb County Sheriff's Department, the text message she acknowledged she provided to the Macomb County Sheriff's Department, and the content of those messages shows certainly to the standard required for a bond violation that Mr. G. Howard Randolph did contact her with threatening and harassing contact in violation of the court order. Further, Your Honor, she testified, again, somewhat reluctantly, but she did testify to receiving a call from Mr. Howard Randolph right after the last court hearing from the Wayne County Jail, in which he asked basically for him to be bailed out by her. I think that the court can certainly can use its knowledge of the case as well as the content that was provided that Ms. Duff made to the Sheriff's Department back on April 24th in making this determination regarding the bond violation. I think Mr. Howard Randolph is intimidating to her. I think he's contacted her multiple times based on the evidence. I think based on the standard report of the bond violation hearing, the court should find Mr. Howard Randolph guilty of both violations for the April incident of communication as well as for the more recent contact with Wayne County Jail.
All right, thank you. Mr. Shenke, I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond, but I'm sorry, Gordy, can you please have Ms. Duff come back in here for a quick moment? I'm just going to come to the podium here for a moment, ma'am. Okay. So I recall that you indicated that your phone was in a repair shop, correct? So tell me how it is that you're able to use your watch when your phone is in the repair shop.
My watch has a different number. I pay separately for my watch. They have a different number, so I can use my watch.
Okay. Terry, please have Ms. Duff put in her password. And the court's going to look at your messages. Do not touch anything other than your phone for just your password.
Why do I mean, to go through my watch, why?
Judge, at the basic housekeeping issue, I'm not sure if the court has the authority to go through her phone without a subpoena. She's here as a complaining witness. I just bring that to the court's attention.
Okay, I appreciate that. Because, ma'am, I don't believe you when you say that you're not receiving messages from anybody while you're testifying.
Okay, well, I'm not. I was checking the time and my heart rate. That's the only thing I was checking. But I can't use it and make messages, but it would take me forever. Yeah, I would literally just sit there and like type it out as slow as possible to even send a message. But no one's messaging me.
All right, please enter your password.
I'm not gonna enter my password.
I just want to ask you a question about the last time you received a message. Please enter your password.
I'm not entering my password.
I'm not going to look at the content of anything. I want to know the last time you received a message.
I'm not entering my password. unless there's a warrant or subpoena.
Okay. Fair enough. You guys see in the lobby. Mr. Shumke?
Yes, Your Honor. I think that what we have here is a lot of I thinks. Obviously, there's circumstances that these two have been in relationships for a period of time, and it's been tumultuous other times. And it seems like there's been points where they're trying to come to a conclusion on how to represent and take after their son. In fact, when we address the entire necessity of a bond condition, it is all right, apprehension of imminent harm, does the complainant want to have contact with my client? And in the circumstance, she indicates she's not afraid of him. Now, apparently, she's been receiving messages and she doesn't know the origin of those messages, but it's also been brought to the attention of the court through other circumstances that there is some racial discourse here, that potentially some of her family doesn't like my client's involvement with her, and that his racial position. It's not unfounded to believe that potentially there's tampering on the other side. The biggest scenario that we have here is the ambiguity and the uncertainty. And beyond that, we have my client who just did 15 or 14 days in custody. I'd ask that obviously it was directly correlated with the fact that there was alleged that he was in contempt. I'd ask that going forward, there's consideration that he be released. And potentially, if the complaining witness would like to have no assaultive contact, that might be something the court could entertain so that we can get back to the case chief. Because at some point, we've gotten here 3 Wednesdays in a row, and we haven't even gotten to the trial yet. What we know is that McComb, at least this point, has not had charges against him. I don't see anything. I see that there's a police report. That police report is just a hearsay document, and it's been unsubstantiated. We don't have anything, including a complaining witness's testimony, tying my client into this contact. Maybe it was him, maybe it's not. We don't know. So I'd ask in consideration the amount of time that he's done in custody, that there be some amendments made to the bond, and that we can only come back here for proceedings directly correlated with maintaining his innocence. Going forward, I hope that this is the last time that we find ourselves discussing something unrelated to the case in chief. But my client understands that he has to have deference and respect to the court. He understands that there's contact provisions that will be implemented. And even if there's circumstances that he feels he needs to speak with the complaining witness, unless otherwise authorized by the court, he will not sidestep the orders. And I hope going forward, we can find ourselves having an advantageous maneuver into getting back to fighting this case and maintaining my client's constitutional rights. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you. The court will note that the charge that's pending right now in this court is aggravated domestic violence. As a condition of Mr. Howard Randolph's bond, which at that point was a $10,000 personal bond, there were multiple conditions, specifically no contact with Ms. Pamela Duff, phone contact, text message, email, social media, anything of the like. And he also was not to appear at her residence or place of employment. What's been brought before the court was a bond violation hearing, that was then set for a hearing. The court will note as well that the first date of the hearing, May 10th, Ms. Duff appeared via Zoom late, indicated she had a flat tire. There was an objection to her testifying via Zoom, so we scheduled it to May 17th. Ms. Duff was not present. Ms. Duff was then served personally with the show cause, and she appeared today. So we held the hearing today. And while the report itself, as counsel indicated, may be unsubstantiated as far as not having any testimony, independent testimony from the officer taking the report, the court will note that the rules of evidence aren't specifically applied in a bond violation hearing as they are in specific criminal proceedings. The court will also note that the court is not relying on the police report per se, but the attachments on the police report that the court questioned Ms. Duff on, which both counsel had the opportunity to ask follow-up questions. There is zero doubt in this court's mind that Mr. Howard Randolph is the individual that sent these messages to Ms. Duff. The messages referenced the keys, referenced Ms. Duff keeping their child, Rio, away from Mr. Howard Randolph, and specifically referenced those issues within the messages that accompanied a photograph of Ms. Duff's parking lot. Within those messages further, the court will acknowledge that there were threatening statements made within those messages. The court will also note that Ms. Duff clearly did not want to be here and testify. She clearly was trying to defend Mr. Howard Randolph and minimize his behavior. The court will also note that in previous cases involving these two parties and also Michelle Duff, who's Pamela's mother, the court will note that yes, there's been racial undertones and connotations, and the court acknowledged that previously when it was brought to the court's attention. The court will also note that Mr. Howard Randolph was initially as a condition or as a bond, was set as a bond in this matter because the court had to set this for a bond violation hearing, and the court wanted to ensure the safety of the complaining witness in this matter and the complaining witness in the bond violation hearing, that the court indicated that there was going to be a bond that Mr. Howard Randolph would have to post on the bond violation hearing since the parties were coming back for a second day. At that point, Mr. Howard Randolph violated the court's order at the beginning of those proceedings, and so the court held Mr. Randolph in direct contempt of court. Mr. Howard Randolph then continued on in the court, added an additional 10 days because the first contempt of court was 15 days. And the court will also note that there is clearly, even well beyond preponderance of the evidence as relates to what the court has found and as relates to Mr. Howard Randolph contacting Ms. Pamela Duff from the Wayne County Jail within hours of this court's order reminding him not to have contact with Ms. Duff and just being held in contempt of court for not following this court's orders. So the court finds there's bond violations that have occurred, and Mr. Kazak, your request at this point.
Your Honor, I think that I would ask the court to give sentence Mr. Howard Randolph, give him jail sentence for violations. The court has, I think that if this were an isolated incident, the court would certainly consider that in making its determination. However, this is not isolated. It's a continual pattern of behavior of Mr. Howard Randolph, attempt to intimidate the complaining witness and attempt to disregard the court's clear instructions not to contact her. I think given the period this has occurred, the fact that he's so clearly violated the court's order, the court should give him impose a jail sentence for those violations. And I would ask, I believe that discretion the court would already blame that sentence.
All right, and the court will clarify as well for the record that the court's finding Mr. Shadid Howard Randolph guilty on the bond violations. Okay, and Mr. Chunky, anything else?
Yes, Your Honor. As to violations, I respectfully request that he be admonished for 14 days, given 14 days credit. When I got brought on this case, my client and I, we speak almost on a daily basis, and unfortunately, the last couple of proceedings, we find ourselves in this predicament. But I think that it's imperative to see that when the complainant got here, she did not appear intimidated, afraid. She, in fact, wanted to have contact with my client. And I think at the end of the day, when looking at what he's been admonished with, he's been in custody now for 2 weeks. In this circumstance, I'd also like to reestablish my reconsideration on the contempt charge, the secondary one. As you can see, their child encounter is very vocal, and I agree, yes, there were times that his son was on the screen, other times that the son was not on the screen, but off screen, clearly making noise. I did have contact with my client. He indicated that obviously the original contempt charge was interrupting the court. He had just found out that he was going to go into custody. He was going to be missing the custody proceeding that was going to be done at the circuit court level. It was a very emotional period of time. And that he did maintain that he was not trying to disobey the court by having contact via Zoom with the complainant, but rather saying, imparting words to his son that he not knows when he's going to see next. So for that consideration, Judge, I'd ask that 2 weeks, credit 2 weeks, and then potentially the reconsideration with the bond, as well as the additional 10 days contempt. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, the court will indicate for the record that the original 15 days contempt was for the direct contempt from Mr. Howard's continued interruption of the record and outburst in court, which the court had addressed prior to the court proceedings that day. The court will also note that upon Mr. Howard Randolph being taken into custody, he looked at the screen and said, "I love you, baby." And that the only individual on the screen at that time was Miss Pamela Duff. And so for that reason, the court indicated an additional 10 days of contempt. 10 days jail for contempt. What the court will note is that what's clear to this court is that Miss Duff clearly didn't want to be here. The court has no doubt that Miss Duff has some apprehension of imminent harm. So much so that Miss Duff, when she received these messages, the photograph of her parking lot where she's relocated in a completely different county, that Miss Duff is afraid for her safety. The charges in this matter are for aggravated domestic violence. This court on March 16th indicated a $10,000 personal bond with specific bond conditions. Not only were those conditions violated by Mr. Howard Randolph, the way in which they were violated is extremely concerning and troubling to this court. Referencing harm to Miss Duff, referencing behavior getting somebody murdered, extremely concerning to this court. Further, after this court reiterated the no contact, ordered an additional 10 days jail for additional contempt because the court believed that Mr. Howard Randolph was making a comment to Miss Pamela Duff. While in the Wayne County Jail, Mr. Howard Randolph contacted Miss Duff, whom he's ordered to not have contact with. The court has zero confidence that Mr. Howard Randolph will comply with this court's decision, this court's orders. The court, for the safety of Miss Duff, is going to indicate that Mr. Howard Randolph's bond is revoked, and the court is going to indicate as a sentence on the bond violations, $30 days jail.
Your Honor, we would be respectfully requesting consideration for 14 days credit.
And that counsel, the court did give consideration for that, which is why the court indicated 30 days jail. So what I'll indicate is 45 days jail with credit for 14 days. So that's more clear. And the pretrial is scheduled for tomorrow. So I don't know if counsel, you've had an opportunity to speak with each other since it's a state day. And so there doesn't have to be additional transport or whatnot.
I'm sorry, Judge, my client was speaking. I didn't.
Tomorrow's the scheduled date for the pretrial. Do you want to discuss that amongst yourselves today to see what it is that we're doing, or do you want to wait until June 1st?
Your Honor, since we're here, I would like an opportunity to discuss it with my client. I don't believe that we'll be solidifying a plea agreement, and then it's whether or not how he'd like to avail himself as far as options in trial.
Okay, all right. So what we'll do is we'll take a recess and then you can obviously go in the back.
And Judge, just, I know that you've already ruled on this motion, and one thing I'm going to specify in front of my client is that when the court makes a ruling on a motion, I can always ask for reconsideration. However, the motion's been ruled upon, so I reestablish a motion for a change of venue.
Okay, and counsel, you're correct, I have already ruled on that, and so if you'd like the court to reconsider that and you'd like to file a written motion, the court would certainly entertain that at that time. And so as I was saying, you can go in the back and chat with your client, and then Mr. Kazak, you stick around for a little bit so you and Mr. Shepke can chat.
Yes.
Okay, so we will be in recess. All right,
Thank you,
we're going to
Judge.
be off the record. So we are going to go on the record in the matter of the state of Michigan versus Shadid Howard Randolph 23302. And appearance, counsel?
Afternoon, Your Honor. Christopher Shepke appearing on behalf of my client who stands to my right.
Your name, sir.
Shadid Howard Randolph.
All right, and so, counsel, you had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Kazak regarding this matter, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, and then equally as important, I spoke with my client regarding his rights as to procedure, regarding the procedure, whether it would be a plea or a trial, and then I availed him of his options for trial. At this time, he'd like to avail himself of a bench trial. He is aware that that means a jury will not be paneled, and he did knowingly and willingly sign his waiver, as did I, as did Mr. Kazak.
Okay, and so, Mr. Howard Randolph, you understand that you have the right to have a jury trial, correct? Is that yes?
Yeah.
And you understand the rights that you have with the jury trial, that you will not have at the bench trial, correct?
I mean, I do, but yeah.
Okay, so specifically, instead of having 6 people deciding whether you're guilty or not guilty, you're going to have myself.
Yes.
Okay, and that is what you want to do.
Yes.
Even though you've asked twice for your case to be changed to a different venue, you want this court to be the trier of fact.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're sure you don't want a jury trial?
Sure.
And you've had the opportunity to speak to your attorney regarding this, correct? And it appears, based on the length of time, I know that there's some other matters that have been handled, that you've had an opportunity to speak to your attorney at great length, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you want to waive your right to have a jury trial and be tried without a jury and by the court.
Well, unless you think otherwise.
Oh, sir, it's not what I think.
I mean,
I'm just-
actually numerous times.
I am, because I'm making a record and I need to make sure that you're fully aware
Then I won't have to do a trial.
that you will not have a jury trial. That's why I'm doing it. I'm not suggesting one way or the other which way you should go. That's completely your decision and completely your right to have a jury trial or a bench trial. Either way you want it. I'm just making sure that you're fully aware and making a record of it. And so that it's knowingly waived for a jury trial. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking multiple times, not to
Yes,
suggest.
I want a bench trial, so it's a jury trial.
Okay. And the court, counsel, even though the court ruled already on the motion to change venue twice and denied it, Mr. Howard Randolph, you don't have any issue with this court continuing?
Only issue that I'll be treated really.
Okay. All right. The court will indicate that as the waiver has occurred in open court and defendant has been arraigned and properly advised of his right to a jury trial and an opportunity to consult with counsel and both plaintiff's counsel as well as Mr. Shemke and Mr. Howard Randolph have signed the waiver of trial by jury, the court will indicate that this matter will be tried without a jury. And so now we need to pick a trial date, counsel.
I have my, my calendar.
Okay. We can do June 29th. Council, does that work? At 1:30 in the afternoon?
I don't have conflict of.
Okay. All right, the court will indicate witness and exhibit list. By June 15th. Okay. Anything else?
No, you aren't.
All right, thank you. We'll see you back on June 29th.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you. Have a good day. We will be off the record.